After a while, I was actually thinking about my life, and I got to realize that at a certain point, things changed. And personally, I was able to understand more and get clearer. In fact, I feel a lot connected and attached to the kind of woman I want to become, the kind of person I want to see myself as. And the more I see that, I am always grateful. And at the same time, I will be reflecting on the things I have actually done that has played a vital role in where I am today. And that was how I come up with this video. That the things I actually did that helped me put my life on track. Like I've mentioned before, there are some times of my life that I am not even confident I lived that life. But at the same time, I figured that that life I have had in the past is actually the foundation to the life I am about to have. And the journey are the steps. They are just the journey, the road path to what I'm about to become. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I was able to get my life on track, how I am able to get here, and importantly, from where I'm coming from, how that impacted my life, and how that has actually helped me grow into becoming the woman I actually want to be. I realize that most times as human beings, when we go through different circumstances of life, that is when we begin to find our path. And this journey will keep leading to a step will give you questions, and when you're able to solve the puzzle, you move on to the next step again, and the journey continues. So through obstacles, I am able to find my own path. And I believe that is what will happen to most of us that are willing and are intentional about making something purposeful out of our life. And most importantly for women like me that have gone through the divorce, that have been through a lot of emotional issues, carrying weight upon my shoulders, and experiencing most of those difficult times, trying to comprehend the fact that we are now a single mother, the societal expectations, the religious norms, and carrying the weight of the children all by yourself and balancing your care attention, including that of your child, and also trying to become a woman that you can actually call yourself in the future. So I figured that this journey, these circumstances are actually the pathway to most of our success story. And if you're in this type of dilemma cycle, you are thinking about how you can actually come out of the situation and you're trying to work towards you becoming the best version of yourself. Either you are doing it silently or you're doing it openly so you can understand fully well that you're taking control of your life. Unarguably, God has the control of everything that's happening, but at the same time, you are still in charge of controlling yourself, just that you can't actually control the outcome of how you control yourself. So it shows that we human beings have the opportunity to change some things about ourselves. And if you're in this type of situation, I believe this video can share more, a little bit of light, even if it is not answering or matching all your boxes. I believe there are some notions I'm about to talk about that will actually help you. The first thing I worked on when my life was a chaos, when I was really disturbed, I don't really have a sense of belonging, everything was shattering around me. The first thing I worked towards was purity. And this is going to be a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of concept, a little bit of psychology pathway of life. And when I mean purity, I mean it is a state whereby you refrain from indulging in activities that has to take your body. Now, I figure that in the world of we women, I don't know about you, and you might have noticed about yourself, when you're going through some lifetime, or let's say just like the spirituality realm, we religious believers, we believe that sometimes there is something we call synchronization of human being. That is, when a female meets a male, sometimes maybe you are not purposeful, you don't have a life, you don't really have a purpose, you don't have a vision. This opposite gender can be an influence to you to become a better version of yourself. And at the same time, you can meet with somebody that probably you are the type of person that has a purpose, you have a goal, ambition, and this person will push you to derail from that path. Now, let's take it back to her body. Sometimes I notice that when women being, especially we women, we encounter a man that will probably have sexual activities with, there are some influences that come down to us now, and it is in two ways, coming down to the female and also going down to the male. This is what I mean by purity. You know, sometimes when we females are pure, we don't actually go into sexual activity with any man for a while. There is a way our body responds to our inner self. There is a way the body responds to the supreme being. In fact, there's a way the body responds to the universe. At this time, for me, I noticed that it helped me in the sense that I am able to be myself. I am in a very pure state, in the manner that I am not focusing on anything but myself. It gave me this sense of opportunity to connect with my deeper self. Most time, instead of going out to opposite gender, to talk or to have any activity, I feel relieved. I feel assured within myself that this state is just soothing and calming naturally. Not because a lot of things are actually involved, but because there is this way this thing happens. When you're purified, when you are not actually with an opposite gender, you don't engage in any sexual activity, you don't actually connect with man on a sexual level, your body answers to you. Your body feels calm. There is no chaos. It's just like somebody else is not bringing his baggage to you. And you are also not taking your baggage to anybody else. So your baggage remains within you and you will be able to contain yourself at the time. So the first thing I actually did was maintaining purity. Any man that asked me out concerning relationship and the likes of them, I say no because at that point I feel like I just want to be myself. And haven't you noticed that most times when you're on your own, when you don't actually have any attachment, that is when your body speaks to you. And that is when we are even more likely to answer and to understand what our body is saying. That's when we are more likely to understand the message the body is passing across to us. And at the same time, when your body is in this state, the universe understands that you are in a calm state outside the chaos. Then you realize that a lot of things begins to happen. You might not be seeing it physically, but in terms of your body on its own, it's going to be calm. And after this step, something else will happen that will make you understand that during this time, that time has actually facilitated what happened next. So I think as a human that you're trying to get your life on track, this is a very crucial aspect because you will be taking charge of your body. And when your body is purified, just like whichever religion you can believe in, they believe in purity. When you are pure, you'll be able to connect with the universe, you'll be able to connect with your spirituality, you'll be able to connect with your inner self. You will be able to understand messages that is being passed across to you, either from the universe or from the supernatural being or from your innermost self. The next thing I actually worked on was my spirituality. Like I mentioned in the first point, that when you're pure enough, you'll be able to connect with the universe and the supreme being and also to yourself. And that is what actually took me to the level of being spiritual. You know, we Muslims, whenever we want to observe Salah, we want to pray, we want to connect to Allah, which is our creator, we have this mindset of this intention of being pure. That is, whatever it is we want to observe by speaking to our creator or whichever activity that warrants our attention, we have to be in a pure state. And when you are in a pure state, you are moving in into a spiritual state. Now, I realize that this is applicable to any form of religious ethics you might have want to perform. Even as Christians and as idol worshippers, we believe that or we understand that whenever we want to speak with our God, we are supposed to be in a pure state. Just like some that are idol worshippers that worship the Oshun, like we Yorubans call it, they believe that a female, whenever she's going to approach the Oshun, the goddess of water, she has to put on white, and whatever she's on is on her, probably some attachments, some extensions, has to be off. She has to be in that state. So I realize that purity is what begets spirituality. You know, connecting to the universe on a spiritual level is just like an advancement of you connecting with yourself. And at this point, your body is going to be in a settled form of state. You are pure and you are even spiritual. As you're pure, your body is ready to accommodate what is coming, not just on a surface level, but on a spiritual level. I realized that at this point, I was able to pray, I was able to fast, I was able to make dua, I was able to observe salat, I was able to do a lot of things because I was pure and I was yearning for spirituality. I observed my salah, I fasted, and I did a lot of dua. And at this point, I realized that my body was connected to nothing apart from me pleasing my creator, and at the same time I was pleasing myself. And when these two come in place, you realize that you are pleased with your inner self. There's going to be an enhanced sentiment within yourself that your life can definitely have a purpose again. You just have to come down to its level so you can stoop down, then it can lift you up. So getting your life on track does not actually have to be difficult. I also realized that when I started becoming more spiritual, I started having this spiritual awareness. For example, when I want to take a step to take an action, sometimes I have this instinct of not doing it. Or sometimes I have the instinct of, okay, hold on, don't try it. Or sometimes I can even predict the outcome of situation. And sometimes it's funny that I even dream about things that will happen in the future. Subhanallah, that is really great because that is what happens when you're spiritually connected. You don't just act on your own. You realize that something is actually pushing you, something is talking to you, something is responding to you, something is making you take up decisions. And in fact, when you're connected spiritually, you realize that whenever you want to take any step, you are afraid over it and you're even in a pure state, something will give you that instinct that do not take this step or take this step. And even if you eventually take the step, you realize that the outcome might not be pleasing. And at the long run, you'll be able to remember that, oh, and I actually felt this thing, just that I did not listen enough. I'm this type of person that I realized at that point that when I started becoming more spiritual, my life was not just as ease, but I figured that if there is any decision I want to take, I go into purity, then I go into spiritual. When these two are in place and I take my action, I leave the rest. Eventually, whatever action I take eventually is always working for me. In fact, when I was looking for a job, I tried to enroll into a school that is a little bit far away from my home and the one that is closer. Okay. Based on the notions I have actually gathered over the years concerning growth and extending your reach beyond wherever you are, based on the video I shared before, I realized that I was trying to limit myself based on the location, but my innermost self was telling me that I should step outside. But when I'm stepping outside, there are things, obviously, when you're making up a decision, you have your risks and advantages. I was thinking about the disadvantages. My kids are home, how will I nurture them when I'm not around? This one, what time will I be returning, and how will I keep them in track? But if I should maintain the one that is close by, number one is that transportation cost is very, very low, and I will be able to navigate the time. I'll be able to work with time. But at the same time, the one that is close by will be needing more of my attention because they have a high population of school. And the one that is far away have lesser population. And at the same time, the one that is far away is answering my question based on, yeah, Allah, I don't really want a job that will be taking much of my time that will now keep me away from my goal again. I want to be able to ascertain some amount of things by the end of the year and the likes of them. Now, after a while, the one that is far away called me. Our discussion concerning settlement was a little bit low, which could not even accommodate transportation and the like. And the one close by, the settlement is close to each other, and it was still accommodating lots of things. So the one far away, we discussed concerning the amount and the settlement, but it was not pleasing enough. So I decided to opt in for the next one, the other one that is close by. And do you know what actually happened? When I was going to the other one that morning, I was like, oh my god, now I'm dressed for work, and not that I've actually been employed, but the way I dressed will give anybody a notion that I'm actually going to work. And I myself even gave myself that notion that I'm going to work. But I just don't know yet. And on getting to the second place, we discussed, and the price was almost the same thing. But before I entered the interviewing room, I got a call from the other school that was far away. And surprisingly, subhanAllah, they gave me an amount that was actually close to my intended amount. Normally at workplace, you're still going to be bargaining and the likes of it. And at that point, I was actually thinking that if the amount is like this, I would actually opt for this. But after a while, after we discussed with the supervisor of the school and we negotiated, I was like, wow, what's changed? So now I have two options. So I told the other place that I'll be resuming that very day, but they should give me the grace of few hours to get my things while I return. I just placed a call through the one that is far away, and that was it. So I realized that most times, after I settled, what I thought at the point was that if I take a look at the things I actually want, this one that is far away is giving me that notion. But this one that is close by is only going to be adding more to my problem because I'm going to be facing a lot of stress and the likes of them. But naturally, I just feel that I would go for this, even with the fact that it is far away. This will give me what I'm looking for. And now I'm even making my YouTube videos from this very school. I have the time, it's entertaining and a lot of things here. It's just what I can actually, I can never in my wildest dream pray for. Alhamdulillah. That is what happens when you're connected spiritually. In fact, you'll be having multiple options, but at the same time, you would have the instinct to go for the one that will be best for you. And when you don't even go for the one that is best for you, maybe there is a message or there is a lesson you're going to be learning from that place you're going. And whatever you learn there is what will take you to the next place. And in fact, you might not even be getting what you wanted at the beginning because I have worked in an organization whereby when I started, it was not really encouraging. But my intention, the spirituality realm of me, gave me that instinct to go with the notion that if you go there, other things will come in. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. That was exactly what happened. When I got there, the salary level was low. Not sooner than, I think it was less than a month, that the student themselves went to the management and told them about my skills that they want me to do this for them. And that even gave me an additional amount in that present place and also in the primary section. And from there, one thing started leading. And in fact, till I was able to get control of the GSS 1 to SS 3, that my pay was even way more than. And that was how I was able to get accommodation and get settled with my kids. Alhamdulillah. So that's what happens when you're connected spiritually, regardless of the religion, regardless of your notion of believing. Just believe that when you purify and you're connected spiritually, you will be having a high level of connection with the universe, with the supreme being, and to yourself. And the third thing I worked on, which has actually helped me to keep my life on track, is I build my mind to be connected to my goal. And that is 2 points. The first thing is that I created a goal for myself. I created another dimension. I created a new pathway. I tried to let go of the things that has happened to me in the past. I tried to put my focus on the fact that some of the things that has happened are not meant to be there. And they are even there because they are supposed to teach me some things. And because of that, I will be making those things in motion, a stepping stone on the things I want to build for my future. And part of what has happened to me, I'm going to be building my future around that. So I created a goal, then I started putting my mind at that goal. In fact, me starting up a work that started with low level of interest or income was also an advancement of my goal because the goal is that I should get a job. And there is this notion I've actually built around my thing is that when I'm looking for something, I always work with the first thing that comes. Because sometimes we might be looking at something, like I explained in most of my video, we might be looking at something that is in step 4 and you're at step 1. That is what I even mentioned in one of my previous video about focus on your goal and pay attention to the circumstances around. That is building resilience. Rubrica mindset affirmations. I mentioned. I'm going to be linking the video down below. When you have a goal, you also focus on the circumstances around it. So I have this goal that I'm going to be building a new life for myself. And the first thing that has to come in place is getting a job. Now, the job I'm looking for should be earning me at least 70,000 to 100,000 naira per month to be able to at least standardize to a level for myself and my kids and wherever I'm staying. But the first job that came to me was an offer of 45,000. That was very good. But that is the one I could get at the moment. Though I was really pressed. But the notion that came to me was that take the first thing, do this one, and other things will come. And surprisingly, my salary was more than 120,000 naira as at month 4 of starting the job. It was over 120,000 naira, and I started with 45,000. So I have the goal to have a job that will give me 100,000. But the circumstance around it is that the first one that came to me is this. Though I might have different options to choose from, but at least me taking the step of going for the first one that has come, it shows that I am willing to put in the work. It shows that I am ready to take what is coming, even if what is coming is not what I actually want. And that is the notion I'll also bring to this, which is I have a goal and my mind is attached to the goal. Not that my mind is fixed to it, not that I'm static about it, but this is what I'm pursuing. And at the same time, whatever that is happening around that goal, I am going to be paying attention to it. The goal is to get accommodation where I'm going to be pleased with whatever I want to do. At the same time, I could not get accommodation in an urbanized area to my taste, but I was able to get in a little bit of not actually urbanized, but at least an area that I can call urban. Okay, if I'm actually waiting on me looking for the money that will get me a perfect home, it shows I will still be where I was. I wouldn't have left the place, I will still be there. So I created a goal for myself and I started working towards it. My mind is glued to the goals. I started giving myself a purpose. When you have a goal, you have this purpose, you have this sense of belonging, you have reasons to wake up and act. You have reasons to do the things you are doing over and over again, even if it is not promising enough. You have a purpose, a sense of belonging. You are trying to give yourself that, you're giving your soul a life or you are giving your life a soul, whichever way you want to put that, that I am putting my focus on this, I am working towards this. In fact, when you do anything, when you live, when you breathe, when you sleep, you realize that your brain naturally will start making way around. Just like the saying that whenever there is a way, there is a way. You have this will to do something. Naturally, spiritually, universally, will start bringing in options and choices for you to live by. You have your purity in place, you have your spirituality in place, and your mind is also connected to it. Subhanallah, you can achieve more than you can ever dream of. And this is one of the important things I did when I was trying to put my life on track. Create a goal for yourself and see your life turn around. And don't just create this goal, attach yourself to it, connect yourself. And when you're connected to that goal, you focus on that goal, then you pay attention to the circumstances around it. Even if you are not achieving exactly what you actually put in your goal, but you making a step and something happening to you, you welcoming those things that are happening, it shows you are telling the universe that you are ready, you are willing to take in whatever is happening. And before you know it, you realize that you're going to step 10, you're at step 1. Before you know it, you can take the step can take you to step 4 or 5 without even going through the steps one after the other. The next thing, which is the fourth thing I did that actually helped me keep my life on track, is consistency in actions and systems. That is, like I said, when you create a goal for yourself, then I started taking actions that are consistent. Now, when I started spiritually, on a spiritual level, in the morning, as Muslims, we wake up for Fajr and other prayers will come in. So what I do is that I told myself that on daily basis I'm going to be reciting Al-Quran at least 4 pages. Now 2 pages for Salah, 1 page because in the morning we observe 2 rakah. So 1 page for rakah one, 1 page for rakah two. Then I'm also going to be reciting 2 more pages because I want to complete an entire Quran in the space of 4 months, which means I want to read at least 3 Quran in a year. So I started doing that, and also every year for each month, I came up with prayers that I'm going to be doing. That is the prayer that will come monthly, the prayers that will come weekly, and the ones that will come daily. I started doing it and also followed it with charity zakat. And also, I told myself I'm going to be reading on daily basis. I downloaded some PDFs and printed them out that I'm reading. Also, I told myself that I'm not going to be watching some videos that are relevant to my goals. I have to focus. And also, I gave myself a timetable on daily basis. What do I need to do? On Sunday, record YouTube videos. On Monday, start preparing YouTube scripts. On Tuesday, start editing the videos. Wednesday, publish. Thursday, and the cycle like that. I give myself consistent actions that I'm willing to be consistent with. Now, one of the things we miss is that whenever we set a goal for ourselves, we don't put in the work, we don't take the action. We feel that we have set the goal and that is just the end. No, when you set a goal, the next thing that should come to you that will decide if you're really going to achieve that goal or not is your action. And the major factor there is being consistent. You set a goal and you don't take action, you're not even consistent with your action, it shows you're going to be flopping and there are going to be fluctuations along the way. So, one of those things that I've actually done that has helped me is being consistent with my actions and creating systems for myself. What are those systems? That goal you are looking for, is it spiritually? Is it physically? Is it mentally? Is it socially? Is it with your phone? Is it within yourself internally? What are those things? Are you going to be reciting affirmations on a daily basis? Are you going to be taking step back to the things that happen to you? Are you going to be walking forward? You want a job. You know, obviously, part of the things you need is to get money on your table on daily or weekly or monthly basis. And I think the fastest thing you can do is to get a salary paying job just for you to start from there. And you feel you are writing free proposal to some companies. Fine, you are doing that online. Why don't you go offline again? Walk into some companies you can easily find around you and see what happens from there. You don't have to wait until these things come to you. You have to be willing to do it. You put in the work, you have that goal. then you put in the work. When you put in the work, you realize that you're achieving far better than those that have goals. And don't forget at the same time, when you put in the work, that does not mean you're going to be getting exactly what you wanted. You are not going to be getting exactly. What will happen is that you might be getting little or lesser at the beginning, but eventually all the efforts you have put in place, after a while, will sum total and give you that massive breakout. That's what usually happens. So being consistent with my goal and actions and system helped me put my life on track. And the next thing that I actually do when I was trying to put my life on track that has actually become a really vital part of me is continuous learning and improvement. Like I said, growth is just like a learning environment. You know, I've undergone some times in my life, and the thing that I've been able to help myself to do is that I take whatever that has happened to me, that is happening to me presently, that will happen to me in the future. I take everything as lesson. And when I see them as lesson, I see an opportunity to improve more. We shouldn't see challenges as setbacks. Challenges are stepping stones to wherever we are going in life. And since I have decided to build my life on that notion, things change and I am able to put my life on track. I don't see challenges as setbacks again. In fact, I see them as things that would help me push forward. I see them as things that will push me higher. I see them as things that will help me build that life again. In fact, one of the things I have learned out of the challenges I have faced is whatever that has happened to you, if you feel you are doing more than enough and you're not getting anything in return, or I will put that as regards to my marriage. I feel that I am putting in my very best and nothing is working. I have decided to let go of the marriage. The next thing that should come is I'm not trying to correct anything again. The next thing that will come is starting over. And when I start over, that does not mean I'm a failure. It shows I am giving room for new things entirely to happen to me. And whenever I'm walking that path of starting over again, I am going to be picking lessons and motion from what has happened to me before into the new life I am about to create from starting over. So you don't have to see whatever that is happening to you as an obstacle. You see them as an opportunity for you to keep learning. And there is nothing that is comparable to life because life is the best teacher. It is the best of whatever it is that you can get that will teach you anything. So whatever happens to you, see it as an opportunity to learn and as a room for you to improve, regardless of where you are about your marriage, your finances, your spirituality, your goals, your ambition, whatever that has happened to you, see it as an opportunity to learn, and that will also help you improve. One of the ways I am able to keep my life on track is more of being connected to the spiritual and understanding the universe, how it works, is letting go and surrender to the universe. We human beings try a lot to control the way things happen. We try to control our outcome. Like when we set goals for ourselves, we feel we want to meet a target. By the end, in 2 years, I want to be a coach. In 2 years, I want to finish my academic learning. Who told you you're going to be finishing in 2 years? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed the way our life will go. And that is part of the belief of the people that say spirituality and the universal existence. Though we might have a goal, we might have a kind of purpose we have set for ourselves, but that does not mean we should forget that if we don't achieve that goal, we still continue. If you don't achieve that goal, that does not mean you have failed. That does not mean your life is not moving. That does not mean you don't have a purpose again. It is only a way of probably we are being avoided for something, or there is still something that needs to be learned before we get to that position. You can never plan and be exact. No, 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 no. I have never seen the person that predicted something and that didn't happen exactly the way he has. And whatever is going to happen exactly the way he has predicted is out of trying multiple times. He has tried and failed. He has tried and failed. He has tried and failed. And upon the mercy of Allah, Allah has actually ordained that time to be his time where it's going to be correct. Not actually because he planned to be exact. Whenever we are trying to keep our life on track, we need to be able to let things go and surrender. You have put in your very best. You have tried multiple things, they are not working. and you know that this thing is going to be affecting if it does not turn out to be good, why don't you run back to Allah? Why don't you run back to the universe? Why don't you run back to your spirituality and let it go? When you let it go, you'll be surprised how much is going to be coming back to you. You are surrendering. I have put in my best. I have tried to take the ideas of different people about the notions and the understandings around this thing. So, what is the next thing for me? Let it go. You love people so much that you are willing to control every action they take, and they are complaining that you are choking them. Have you loved them enough to let them go? When you let them go, they will understand the impact you're actually having on them. They would eventually be able to understand if they are the ones making force out of what does not have meaning, or you are the one overdoing. And do you know what happens when you let things go? You are able to see things on the high side. Because when you are holding on tight to things, you are shrinking yourself. You are putting yourself in a cycle of not seeing the full picture. But when you take a step back and you see things from afar, you will be able to see. Maybe you are the ones not doing it right, or even as much as the lesson the situation is trying to teach you. So I was able to understand that. I was able that I've been holding on too tight to things. I try to control my finances. I try to control how my kids will work. I try to control the kind of job I have. I try to control all possible things concerning all the business that I've tried that have failed. But I figured that me trying to control these things is actually ripping me off of happiness. I'm not happy because when things don't happen the way I planned it to be, just like normal human beings, we fought ourselves and we find ourselves wallowing in a situation. But the moment I understand that I am not the one that created this thing, I am just human trying to tap into these things to give me happiness. And what if that happiness is not coming to me from these things? Why don't I just create happiness within myself? And that was what I did. I figured that mentally I was okay. Socially, I feel free. Mentally, emotionally, I don't feel any emotional baggage within me again. And then things started unraveling on its own. What I have thought is a weight that actually is higher than myself fell on my lap without even trying. Alhamdulillah. Rabbil Alamin. And the last thing, I won't actually call it the last thing, but the last thing on the list for today that I've actually done to put my life on track is gratitude over complaints. We human beings have inculcated the habit of complaining. We nag a lot. Why is this not working this way? Why are things not even adding up? I have tried this thing. Why are you doing this? You are to be blamed. I don't have this in my life. I don't have a bed, I don't have a fan, I don't have a wardrobe, I don't have a phone, I don't do this. And because I don't have a phone, I can't have a life. Because I don't have a bed, I can't exercise. Because I don't. We complain about a lot of things. We always complain about the part of our life that is not there yet. But we have forgotten to lay emphasis on the things that are there. When you go outside to places, subhanallah, when you go outside to places where people are living in the scariest places you can ever imagine, you will be grateful to your creator for even giving you the life you are living. When you go to hospitals where people are not breathing, where they are being transferred, breathing cycle, their breathing mechanism is being regulated. You will understand that they would give anything to be in the position you are because you can breathe without spending a dime. If you go to places, those that don't have parents, those that their kids have been trampled, or those that have children that they are not even happy, they have children that are having cerebral palsy, they're having a lot of conjoints in the bodies and the likes of it. You will be grateful for the kids you have that even if you don't have money to feed them, you are looking at them and you're happy that you have this type of kids. I realized that gratitude unravels things to happen, unravels possibilities for us to achieve a lot of things. Gratitude over complaints. You don't have to complain about everything. Allah understand. The Creator understand that you are defaulting, you are lacking. The universe knows that you don't have something. Your creator knows that this is the position you're. You don't have to explain every single thing to your creator before you understand. You're only expressing as a point of you trying to make your mind free. Not from the point that he does not know. Not from the point that the universe does not know that you're not happy. You're only expressing from your own point of giving yourself that inner peace that you have set something out. Not that we don't, not that it does not know. So why don't you be grateful for the things you have? Why don't you just appreciate the little things you have control of? Why don't you just appreciate the fact that you are alive today? Do you think you will be tomorrow? And the fact that you wake up the next day and you are still alive, it shows gratitude. It shows that you have more than. It shows that you still have opportunity that those that have died don't have. It shows that you are still in control of your life. Even if you can't control the outcome, you're still in control of how you act and how you do things. And because you're in control shows you can still change the way things are working. As long as you have life in you, you are breathing, you have full control over the way you do things, just that you don't have control over the outcome. Holding on too tight will make it difficult for you to see how grateful you should be that you're standing here and you're making things happen. Even if the effort you're making is up to five and the result you're seeing is just one, there is difference from not seeing result at all. There is different from not even making effort. And there is different because by the time you make this five effort, you have one. You make another five, you have two. You make another five, you have three. There is going to be a time that you are going to be making this five and you're going to be having the entire of this thing as a result. That is what will happen. So keeping your life on track does not have to be difficult. And honestly, when you're able to maintain all the steps I have stated here, just come back and tell me your life did not change. And I will be willing to entertain the conversation. If you like content like this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow the YouTube channel because on a weekly basis, I'm going to be making videos that will turn your life and my life around. Until I see you in my next one. Bye.